Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope your day and your week are going well so far. We've got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. We've got more round one playoff action tonight. A little two-game slate where I found some decent value and some solid picks to share. But first, as always, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers here on the YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, join the constantly and fastly growing Guy Boston sports community. Hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot and helps us get to our goal just a little bit sooner. Unfortunately, guys, no recap of yesterday's video because I am recording this on Wednesday night right before the tip-off of Celtics Heat. Got a big catering order at the pizza shop in the morning, so trying to get ahead of the game, be a responsible adult and a responsible business owner, and getting this video out beforehand so that I make sure I have no time constraints in the morning. So unfortunately, that means no recap because the picks, the results, although you guys may have them in the past, I do not. So a little past, future, little time paradox going on here with the recording. So no recap of yesterday's video. Also, for the contest that you had yesterday, in yesterday's video, where I told you guys to comment Kalo, K-A-L-O, in the comments, and for a free t-shirt, I will be announcing the winner of that contest on Friday's video, tomorrow's video. Because I'm recording this on Wednesday night, I wanted to give you guys a full 24 hours to be able to comment on that one. So we will announce the winner of the free Fade Me t-shirt on Friday's video. All right, guys, with that out of the way and no picks to recap here, let's jump into today's picks. We'll switch right over to the Outlier screen. Guys, Outlier is the best sports betting tool on the market, and they are the official sponsor of not just today's video, but all of my NBA player prop videos here on the channel. There is a special link in the description below that gives you guys a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. You've got nothing to lose. You try it for 7 days. You don't like it, you don't subscribe. But if you do like it, you stay subscribed, and hopefully it'll help you win a little extra cash. If you watch my videos, you know how helpful Outlier can be in all the tools and the data it shows. And I'm only giving you a little taste of it. There's so much more to Outlier that even I haven't discovered yet. So it really is the best sports betting tool on the market, guys. Give it a shot. 7-day free trial. Link in our description below. Make sure to check that out. And also, guys, remember, I've been saying in every video, along with that Outlier link for the 7-day free trial, I also put a link, or an Outlier link for my picks, so you guys can follow along. I don't put in the pinned comments like Ev. What I do is there's a special link that Outlier creates, and it has all the picks. I put that in the description. I make sure to label it so you guys will see it. When you go in the description, you'll see the link for today's picks. Click on that and it will show you all the picks for today's slate, as well as an opportunity to just bet them directly from that page. So we have 5 straight props in today's slate and a 3-leg parlay to close out the video. Our first straight prop from today's slate, we're targeting Bucks Pacers, 6:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going Pascal Siakam over 12.5 rebounds plus assists. We're going to get this for -118 on DraftKings, but it's available on almost all sportsbook except for maybe, it looks like Prize Picks, maybe not. But a pretty good prop available in most places. You see he's cashed this in 4 of his last 10 games, which I know at first glance is not fantastic. And if you look at the season total, it makes sense. He's averaging 11.46 rebounds plus assists per game. But this line is clearly elevated because he's been putting up big numbers in the playoffs. He's been playing a ton of minutes. So this line is elevated to where it normally probably would be in the regular season, which is why you see the hit rate has been pretty low for Siakam. What's important to us, though, is how he's performed in this series so far. And you see he's been playing very well versus the Bucks. He's averaging 13.4 rebounds plus assists per game versus the Bucks in this series. You see he had cashed this in every game going into Game 5 on Tuesday. He had a really poor effort there, 4 rebounds and 2 assists. But again, before that, he was covering at a pretty high rate. You see in Game 4, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. In Game 2, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. So overall, the data pretty solid for Siakam here. He had a little bit of a down game in Game 5. I expect the whole Pacers team really had a down game in Game 5. I expect them all to bounce back here in Game 6 in Indiana at home. I think Siakam bounces back and has another good game on the boards and distributing the basketball. All right, guys, the second straight prop from this game, we're going Tyrese Halliburton over 27.5 points plus assists. We're getting this for -118 here on DraftKings. And again, similar to the Siakam prop, you'll see at first glance the most recent data. Not fantastic. 4 of his last 10 games cashed the over, averaging 25.5 points plus assists per game over his last 10 games. But unlike Siakam, the season data is much better for Halliburton. You see a 67% hit rate on the year, 50 out of 75 games, including playoffs. He's cashed his over, averaging 30.63 points plus assists per game. Of course, we know early in the year was where most of the covers came from, but he still covered it at a decent rate at post-injury. Not as great as he was in the early parts of the season, but post-injury, still pretty solid. The most important part, though, here is the head-to-head data. He's now played the Bucks, including this 5-game series so far, 10 times this season, and he's cashed it in 7 of 10 games versus Milwaukee this year, averaging 31.5 points plus assists per game versus the Bucks. And if we narrow it down to just this playoff series, he's cashed in 2 out of 5 games so far in games 3 and 4. He did cash the over. And you see games 5 and 2 where he missed. It was a close miss. He still played pretty decently. Game 6 in Indiana. You saw both games 3 and 4 in Indiana. He cashed it at home for game 6. He was kind of disappointing in game 5. The whole Pacers team, like I said, with the Siakam prop, were pretty disappointing overall in game 5. I think game 6 at home, a chance to finish the Bucks off at home. Still no Lillard, still no Giannis for Milwaukee. I think Halliburton absolutely takes advantage. And look at the Bucks defensively versus point guards. They were bottom 3 in the NBA all season in points allowed. Now Lillard's out, and I know he was part of the problem as to why they were so bad, but him being out doesn't make this necessarily better. You got Pat Bev playing a shit ton of minutes. This team was thin to begin with, and now you take Lillard and Giannis out of the equation. They're super thin. They weren't that great defensively. You see, they were a bottom 10 defensive team all season long. Now you take away some of their best players, including their best defensive player. I think Halliburton should be able to cash this line. All right, guys, switching gears now over to the Knicks-Sixers game, 9 p.m. tip-off. We're going Kelly Oubre Jr. of the Sixers over 12.5 points. This is a plus money play. We're getting for plus 105 on DraftKings. It is available on every sportsbook here. And for a plus money play, the data is fantastic for Oubre. In a narrow view, just in the last 10 games, you'll see a 60% hit rate, averaging 14.5 points per game over his last 10 games, including each of the last 3 games in this series versus the Knicks. You see he scored 15, 19, and 14 points across the last 3 games against the Knicks. So 3 out of 5 games so far in this series, you've got to cash. Head-to-head versus the Knicks, he's played them 9 times this season. He's cashed it in 7 out of those 9 games. That includes this 5-game playoff series. A 78% hit rate versus the Knicks. He's averaging 14.22 points per game versus New York. And on the season so far, a 58% hit rate, 43 out of 74 games this year. Oubre has cashed his over, averaging 15.16 points per game. Look, I get the Knicks are defensively one of the best teams. You see they're the second best defense in the NBA in terms of points allowed. And versus small forwards, though, they are a little weaker, bottom 10 in the NBA. I know in the playoffs, these games have actually been kind of gritty and kind of ugly in terms of, they've been very fun to watch. Obviously, that game 5 in particular was incredible. But they've been really gritty, really physical. These are not really games that you'd expect a ton of points here. But Kelly Oubre has cashed it consistently here. And for plus money, I'm going to take those odds. Like I said, he's cashed it in games 3, 4, and 5 versus the Knicks. So he's doing it at home and on the road. Game 6 in Philly. Yeah, I like the spot here for Oubre. All right, guys, our second straight prop from this game, our 4th straight prop overall. We're going Josh Hart over 19.5 points plus assists. We're getting this for minus 108 on DraftKings, but if you're on FanDuel, plus 106, it's a plus money play. Might be better to take this one on FanDuel, get a little extra value there, but it's available practically everywhere. And again, similar to the Oubre prop you see at first glance, the narrow data here, 60% hit rate over his last 10 games, averaging 19.9 points plus assists per game. Most importantly, he's cashed it in 4 out of 5 games in this series versus the Sixers. The only game so far he failed to cash was in game 4. He had just 4 points and 5 assists, but the other games in the series so far, you see 24, 24, 26, and 22. So not only has he cashed it, but he's cashed it pretty consistently. Look at the head-to-head data overall. He's played them 9 times this season, and you see 6 out of 9 games. Nice. He has cashed this over on a 67% rate. He's averaging 20.33 points plus assists per game versus Philly this season. Again, similar line of thought here. And I know the defensive rankings, you see the Sixers here, they are top 10 in points allowed to opposing shooting guards. They are about middle of the road in assists allowed here. But again, he's cashed in 4 out of 5 games in this series so far. Game 6 on the road. Obviously, Knicks have a chance to win the series. They've been running kind of like in the last game, they ran like this 7-man rotation. Obviously, the Bogdanovich injury, like they're very thin right now because of all the injuries. And look, offensively, it feels like it's the Brunson show right now. But if they're going to win this game, if they're going to win this series, they need someone else to step up. DiVincenzo's been awful this series. You know, Mitchell Robinson's not really an offensive player. Precious Achiuwa has basically found his way out of the rotation. You know, McBride's been solid, but they need that second guy. They don't really have it right now. Anunoby sometimes can be that. But I feel like it's going to have to be Josh Hart. And again, He's covered in 4 out of 5 games. Minus game 4, he covered it in the rest of this series, including their last game in game 5. I think he'll continue to cash it here. And again, for pretty good odds, I will absolutely ride with Josh Hart here. All right, guys, and our third prop from this game, our fifth and final straight prop overall for today's video. We're going to Tobias Harris here, under 14.5 points plus assists. We're getting this from minus 125 on DraftKings. And look, I'm going to cut straight to the chase here, right? We'll go to the last 5 games in this series. He had cashed this under in the first 4 games of the series. He had a pretty big game in game 5. He had 19 points and 1 assist. That is, shout out to Outlier, our sponsor, that is an outlier. That's not going to happen consistently for Tobias Harris. I'm sorry, and he's been a decent player in his career. That's not his game. I know actually the cover rate here is pretty low for this under. You see here, just a 29% hit rate on the season. He's averaging 19.66 points plus assists per game this season. But like I said, you look at the narrow view here. The first 4 games convincingly cashed, and then he had a big outlier of a game in game 5. That actually probably helped us because it probably boosted the lineup a little higher than it probably should be. But look at the head-to-head ranking. He's played them 13 times. He's played the Knicks 13 times since November 2022. He's cashed the under 69 nice percent of the time. 9 of his last 13 games versus the Knicks, he cashed the under. He's averaging 12.69 points plus assists per game. And you see here, from January 5th of this season, all the way up until game 5, he had cashed those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I might have skipped a couple there, but you know what? You get the point here. He had cashed this in 8 straight games versus the Knicks this season. He was a 100% hit rate on this under this season going into game 5, and he has the outlier. It was the first time he's cashed that versus the Knicks since February of 2023. It's an outlier. I'm going to fade him here. I'm going to take the under again. I don't care that he had a big game. I don't see it happening again. The Knicks versus power forwards, they are about top 10 in both points allowed and assists allowed against power forwards there. And overall, they are a top 5 defensive team overall in the league. It's not going to be Tobias Harris, guys. It's not. I would rather take Oubre, Embiid, Maxey, everyone else. And I sound like a little bit of a Tobias Harris hater right now. I got no hate for him. I'm just being honest here. This is not his game where he's going to step up. Outlier in game 5. I'm going to take this under here in game 6. All right, guys, that does it for the straight prop segment. By the way, comment 12 down below. We just passed the 12-minute mark in the video. Comment 12 down below if you made it this far. I always do appreciate you guys watching through the entire video. So shout out to you guys who are watching past the 12-minute mark. So here we go. 3-leg parlay to close up the video. Here's the first leg of our 3-leg parlay, sticking here with Knicks Sixers. We're going with Jalen Brunson, over 39.5 points plus assists. We are getting this from minus 150 odds on DraftKings here. And look, he's covered it in 8 of his last 10 games, averaging 44.9 points plus assists per game. He's cashed it in 3 straight games in this series. And look, we bet this line already the last, not yesterday's video, but the video before. And it cashed for us. It did take overtime for us to cash it. But Brunson has been playing unbelievable versus the Sixers team. After the first couple games falling short of this line, pretty well short of this line, the last 3 games he has consistently cashed it. And like I said with the Josh Hart prop, the Knicks right now are running like a 7-man rotation, which is not really a good thing in the playoffs. It means that Brunson's going to play a shit ton of minutes, barring an obvious blowout where maybe they'll sit him and rest him for a potential game 7. He's going to play a shit ton of minutes here, and he's taking a ton of shots. The other day in this video, when I took this prop in that parlay that cashed the other day, that plus 405 parlay that cashed, you're seeing the shot attempts. The last 2 games, he's taken 32 or more shots in each of the last 2 games. In this series so far, he's taken a minimum of 26 shots in every single game. 26, 29, 27, 34, and 32. He's taking a shit ton of shots. That volume is not going to change. The Knicks don't have that other guy. If Julius Randle were here, if they had somebody else, maybe I'd think differently. They don't have that guy right now. DiVincenzo's been struggling in this series. I don't know if he's been pretty good overall, but he's kind of hit or miss. He's not really the best offensive player. Mitchell Robinson, you're not relying on. Precious is falling out of the rotation practically. Isaiah Hartenstein, you're really going to rely on him for your offense. It's basically Brunson, Josh Hart, and the hope that DiVincenzo can find himself and Anunoby can create. Brunson is the Knicks right now. He is really all they have for the most part. And I just think that the volume is going to continue. He's averaging 28.2 shot attempts per game over his last 10 games. He's going to keep shooting. You look at the minutes played. Now, obviously, they put to overtime the last game, which is why he played 51 minutes. But he played pretty much the entire game. You see the last 3 games, 43 minutes or more for Brunson. 5 times this season, Jalen Brunson has played between 43 minutes and 50. There's 5 games in that. I should rephrase that. There are 5 games this season where Brunson has played between 43 and 51 minutes, that little range there. A 100% hit rate. Now, obviously, most of that comes in this series. You see those 3 games 3, 4, and 5 there. But you see when he plays in that range of 43 to 51 minutes, a 100% hit rate. He's averaging 53.6 points plus assists per game, right? The head-to-head data speaks for itself. And even if you stretch this out, if you stretch it to his last 20 games, this is dating back to, last year. He's only had 11 games in this minutes range dating back to last season, but 82% hit rate, 9 of his last 11 games, including 8 straight, averaging 46 points plus assists per game. He's playing a ton of minutes. He's taking a ton of shots. I'm going to keep riding this over until the wheels fall off. All right, guys, going back to Bucks Pacers for the second leg of our 3-leg parlay. We're going with Brook Lopez over 12.5 points. Again, very similar reasoning as to the Brunson prop. Now you see here minus 180. We're getting this on DraftKings. Very similar methodology here. The Bucks, no Lillard, no Giannis. That leaves very few options for Milwaukee in terms of who's going to step up, who's going to score the points, who's going to take over. Middleton clearly is the number one guy, but after Middleton, it's a random pecking order. Bobby Portis played huge in Game 5. Who knows if we'll get that in consecutive games from him. I'm going to put some money here on Brook Lopez. All we need him to do is score 13 points. We're not asking him to do that much. He's already cashed this over in 3 games in this series. 3 out of 5 games so far in the series, he has cashed this over, including a really big Game 4 performance. He just missed the mark in Game 5. He had 12 points in that game. And now, same thing in Game 1. He had 11 points, so just barely missing the mark. But even dating back to last season, 9 of his last 13 games, a 69, nice. A lot of 69s here in today's video. 69% hit rate versus Indiana dating back to last season, averaging 15.69 points per game. The Pacers on the year, they're about middle of the road in points allowed versus opposing centers. I just think Brook Lopez in a game like this, they're going to need him to do something. I think 13 points in a do-or-die game with so many guys out is not that crazy to expect out of him. There's not a ton of data to go off of games this year. We've played without both Dame and Giannis. Only 3 times this season has that happened. But a 67% hit rate, 2 out of 3 games this year. He's cashed the over, averaging 19 points per game without those 2 guys in the lineup. All right, guys, on the third and final leg for today's parlay, we're going Chris Middleton over 24.5 points. Getting from minus 160 on DraftKings. Again, same methodology here. You look at the last 3 games he's cashed this over. No Lillard, no Giannis. He's the number one option, like I just said. And the Pacers overall defensively, they've been bottom 3 all year long. They're the 3rd worst team in terms of points allowed, giving 120 points per game. 2 opposing teams versus shooting guards, they're bottom 3, so they're pretty bad. Again, he's cashed in each of the last 3 games. If the Bucks have any chance of surviving, he's going to have to play a ton of minutes. He's going to have to take a ton of shots. You look at the shot attempts. Each of the last 3 games, he has taken at least 20 shot attempts in each of the last 3 games, including an incredible 29 shot attempts in that overtime Game 3 loss versus the Pacers. The minutes played, again, he's played 41, 39, 39. He's playing at least 39 minutes in each of the last 3 games. Again, not a ton of data to show when he plays all these minutes, but this is a data range to show when he plays between 38 and 42 minutes per game. This year so far, a 60% hit rate, 3 out of 5 games this year. When he's played this many minutes, he's cashed the over. All 3 games obviously being in this Pacers series. He did have a couple games earlier this year where he played this many minutes but didn't cash. He had 12 points in both of those games, 12 points, 13 points. But you look back to last season, I know it's a year ago, and for a guy who's older like Middleton, only 1 instance last year, but he did cash the over. So not a lot of data to go off of when he plays this many minutes, but when he does, the hit rate's pretty high. So you got the defensive rankings fantastic. You have the injuries to the Bucks where he's the number one option now in Milwaukee. You got the shot volume, the minutes played, everything points to him cashing this line. Minus 160, that seems a little too low for me. I'll absolutely take that value for the third and final leg of today's parlay. All right, guys, so there we go. There's the outlier link. Again, a quick recap of today's 3-leg parlay. Brook Lopez over 12.5 points, Chris Middleton over 24.5 points, and Jalen Brunson over 39.5 points plus assists. When you parlay all 3 together, you get a parlay of plus 320 odds, so pretty decent value. Again, the lines might fluctuate and move by the time this video comes out tomorrow morning, but these picks shouldn't move all that much. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, guys, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below, all that good stuff. We will be back tomorrow with our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay. We're going to attempt to do 5 legs depending on what the games look like. But, guys, we will be back tomorrow regardless of the circumstance. And we'll also reveal our winner of our May t-shirt giveaway, whatever you want to call it. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, I hope we're all winners. Have a good one, guys.